Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Can you hear my voice? Yeah? Okay, boleh. Okay, before we start, maybe we can start with Al-Fatiha. Okay, welcome everyone to our sharing session on building networking, effective networking. So, Encik Safwan, on behalf of Kuliah, welcome to Kuliah of Languages and Management, albeit virtually. Right. I am actually looking forward to have this session on face-to-face rather than online. Okay. So just would like to brief all of you. The reason why we are having this sharing session, because in today's environment, networking is one of the important aspects in our life. All right. There have been studies have shown that up to 70% of jobs are never advertised, but rather they are filled by word of mouth, right? Yep. So it is who you know and who knows you that matters. So I will to our moderator, Faris, to introduce Encik Safwan to the audience. Over to you, Faris.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Amirul. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To our beloved lecturer, Dr. Amirul, and my fellow friends. Today is 18th of November 2021, and this morning we will be having a session on building effective networking post-COVID-19 world. I am Faris, your moderator for this morning, and joining us today, our honorable guest speaker, hailing from Awesome TV. He's currently working there as head news operations. Please welcome Mr. Safwan Mahmud. So, Mr. Safwan, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm fine today. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so glad to have you here, sir. So, first of all, Mr. Safwan, maybe you can introduce yourself to the audience, like your maybe a little bit on your past job experience that leading you up to working at Awesome TV, and maybe just a little bit on basically what you do at Awesome TV as head news operations before we step deeper into our topic this morning.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Safwan Mahmud. I've been in the media industry for 29 years, previously from Media Prima. I started off as an assistant producer, and my last post in Media Prima is the Group General Manager of News Operations. And also, I left Media Prima in the mid-2020. Then I start as a head of news operation in Awesome TV. My role in Awesome TV is actually to start the newsroom. They don't have a newsroom, so I was brought in to set up a small but effective newsroom in order for us to fulfill the license condition of Awesome TV. So setting up the newsroom is a challenge, because I need to have the experience and also the younger ones that will be able to fulfill the current news environment that we have today. As you know, in my time, there is no such thing as social media per se when I started off. But today's environment, news is consumed mostly on social media. So I have to have the younger one and the experienced one and match them together and make them work as a team, which is quite a challenge. But I'm looking forward to having it on air, insyaAllah, 1 Disember 2021 nanti. You can catch us at 7:57 at night every day starting 1st December 2021. That's basically about me. Thank you so much.
Okay, amazing, sir. So without further ado, let's dive in into the first question I have for you, sir. Basically, when we talk about networking, some people refer to it as cable nowadays. I just want to know how much true is that? Is this networking equal to cable, or it's not really? Like, is it partially true that it is can be called as cable as well?
Okay,
So,
it depends on how one perceives certain things. Networking is key in any sort of businesses or relationship. You have friends, which is your networking. Facebook is a social networking that start off, and now mostly everybody has a Facebook. Instagram is a social networking. From that networking, you can build a relationship, a meaningful one. You can leverage on that relationship. You can also use it for good things as well. So if you take networking in a positive light and look it as a place where you can leverage your uh, experiences, leverage on your social skills and all that, then it became good. But if you use networking for things that is not good, then it becomes bad. So yes, in a sense, networking is a cable, but it can be used to further enhance your career, further enhance your social networking in a sense that for the good of the community as well. I remember when we first started the Bendera Putih, a lot of people took to social networking to help each other. Uh, you might say that they use the cable in that social networking, but it is for the a good purpose, a good reason. Yeah.
so it just maybe because we usually acquainted ourselves with the word cable because it has some negative connotations to it. But from what you said, it can just like any, it is it can be used. We can utilize it to a good use. For example, like you said just now, the Bendera Putih movement, how people are helping each other through social networking, and for those who are affected with the pandemic. Okay. My next question is, what are the benefits of networking? What are the good things that can be obtained when we how do you say that, when we initiate networking?
Well, let me put it this way. Alone, you cannot do a lot of things, but together you can achieve tremendous things. Uh, Once you have a big networking, you can impact and change things uh, from to become bigger and better. Example: if you throw a stone in a river, the ripple will slowly grow as it goes move along. But if you there is one pebble, but if you take a huge stone, it become a huge networking, and you put it in the stream, the ripple will become bigger, and it will cause such a tremendous effect. Simply because we took example where Tiananmen Square, when that happens, they use the social networking to get people out there to protest and to fight for the democracy in China. And it works. Until now, the Chinese government actually are very wary of social media in China. But putting that aside, as an individual, your networking can help you. You have friends who you can turn to. Let's say you lost a job and you're looking for a job. If you don't have any networking, you wouldn't know where to find. But if you have a good networking in that particular group of yours, then you can ask your friends, hey, do you know any job vacancy? Like Dr. Amiro said that sometimes job vacancy are not open to public. It is by knowing who, what, when. So it helps you to further uh, connect with people that you might be outside of your networking. Let's say I have 5 friends. My 5 friends have another 5 friends. If I connect with them, I get 10 friends. So in that sense, building the networking is very essential for you to survive in today's environment.
Okay, so you mean to say that we might never know when we need the help. So it is best to start engage with people, with new people, as we live, so that one day, maybe if there's a problem that's requires certain attention, we can, and then we just remember, oh, I know this one guy, I know this one person, maybe I can ask them for help, and in return maybe I can help them in the future as well. So at least that's what I'm getting from what you mentioned just now. So, and not to mention the benefits that we will get once we in the industry or
Yes,
in the working field,
yes, definitely. I give you an
because it
example.
will, I believe it will also help us land a new job,
Yeah, but sorry to
in case
interrupt
we
you.
are
I'll
switching,
give you. Sorry to interrupt you. You're breaking. But I just give you one example that happens to me personally. I was looking for a graphic designer, and the resume that came to me wasn't really impressive enough. But a friend knew this guy who's looking for a job, and he actually recommended this graphic designer to me. And after interviewing him, I'm so happy that I got the introduction. I hired him immediately, and he proved to be a very effective graphic designer for me. He showcased his talent. It was a rare gem for me. He can do even multiple things like camera recording, editing, and all those things. So if I have not met that friend and I do not know him, I would have lost that opportunity of hiring an excellent graphic designer. That is one real life example I can give to you how essential networking is to everyone.
Okay, thank you for that sharing experience. I think we all somehow, I mean, even if I mean, I myself, even if I'm not in the working field or in the industry yet, I can we can say that partially relate to what you said just now. So because I also have this one time where I wanted to buy something. I think it was a shirt or something, and then I remember I know this one person through my friend. He also selling all those kind of stuff that I was looking for, and then I got it at the kind of a lower price, than usual market price. So I think that also considered as one of the benefits as well, because
Yeah,
I can get it at
definitely.
much lower price than anyone else, because
Yeah,
I know him. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
great,
That's a
great.
very good example.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move into much more recent or like timely question, which is what is the when we talk about challenge, because my next question is about challenge. We see how COVID-19 affected many and still affecting many industries, especially uh, uh, especially I would believe PR also is affected with COVID-19 as well.
Yes.
So from your perspective or from your standpoint, sir, how does COVID-19 affect the networking?
Oh,
I mean,
that,
what kind of damage that it has done to PR industry as a whole?
well, I can tell you straight off, the media industry has been badly affected by the COVID-19. Uh, People have in the industry in media have lost their job uh, in thousands. Uh, Things, although we need the news and we need information, unfortunately, because of COVID-19, these journalists or these media people are unable to do their job. Uh, that's that's why they are retrenched or uh, companies close down and all those things because essentially uh, media companies depend on marketing, advertisement revenue, and things when business come to a halt, a lot of revenue or a lot of advertisement stop, does affect the company overall performance, and they have to lay off people. So it impact in a very strong way, people losing their job and all those things. But the need for news, the need for information is still in demand because people want to know what's happening. How do you overcome COVID and all that? So the industry now turn over 360 degrees and reinvent itself. No longer the traditional way of doing things, no longer doing things in the old-fashioned way. They have to take to social media. People who, like me, who's an old man, have to adapt to new technology. We will have to use a new medium like what we are doing now uh, to to get our message across, to put our uh, information out there. And the other important thing that what you call that COVID-19 has done is also that people tend to be more selective in the sense that there are so many news out there that you have to be careful of deciphering the information. You get a lot of fake news, you get a lot of misinformation and all that. So the traditional media plays a role where they give a solid information, but in a different medium, no longer the way that they used to. So yes, in media, COVID-19 has a huge impact, and we are learning to cope. We're learning to relearn and use the current technology to the benefit of everyone.
Okay, so I'm interested in what you said. Fake news just now because I myself have experience. I believe all of my friends as well. We are the generations of social media, so that when the MCO first hits, when COVID first hits, there's a lot of misinformation, and this is probably something that is not really related to PR. But I just want to ask you from a media practitioner. Thus, having a non-traditional media where the communication usually two ways communication, right? Does that can distort the message of the news as well? Being two ways communication. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some people, because they want to do it fast, they want to be the first to put out the news. They did not verify the validity of the things that they share. They get it, they read, sometimes without even understanding. They just repost or reshare the tweet. Thus create a viral news, which sometimes is good, but most time is very bad. Uh, One should be responsible in posting certain things or sharing certain things. You have to read and understand, and then only then you will be able to share effectively. Because communication is key, and people need to know, but they do not need to be hindered or bombarded with false news and all those things. I remember this last few days they came out with the news that our former Prime Minister Tun Abdullah Badawi passed away, which is fake. And a few people who are concerned about his health are worried and try to verify. But you create unnecessary anxiety when you read something like that. So I think as the younger generation, you guys got to be more responsible. Do not put anything uh, like you're not sure out there. Like during COVID, you know how they say the vaccine is bad, how many people have died and all that. Yes, there are cases, there are true cases, in fact, but verify it, understand it carefully, get the truth behind it, and only then you share. Be a responsible media person or be a responsible citizen in sharing the post.
Okay, so again, talking about fake news, I think in terms of dealing with this kind of fake news, I think media is the front line to it. media is especially like TV station, radios, and all that. This I would say traditional media, they are the front lines to combat fake news, as they are, they have the power, or they need to bring the truth to the people, to combat this fake news. I think you would agree to that, sir.
Yes, I would agree, but I also want to emphasize something. The responsibility doesn't only rest on fake news. Doesn't is not the burden of the traditional media per se, but everyone needs to play a role. Everyone needs to be more responsible. Then we will have a more critical thinking society, and people who are not easily accepted to fake news. That is key. I think every citizen needs to play their role in not spreading the fake news per se, not just traditional media lah. That's my thought.
Okay, so that's a little bit on the fake news during COVID. And when we talk about social networking and COVID, do you think, from your perspective, does platform like LinkedIn helps if people want to, if people wants to, engage with networking with other people?
No, definitely. I think you should use all the social media platforms, not necessarily LinkedIn. But if you are somebody who's looking for a job, and on LinkedIn is a good platform for you to connect, because then you can build networking, and you never know, you'll find a job offer that comes along your way. I myself in the LinkedIn for quite some time. I do get a lot of offers, but then you can choose and pick which one you want to go to. You can offer yourself there as well, relating to your experiences and what you have done. As a newbie, as a fresh graduate, I suggest that you guys beyond the LinkedIn, start putting out your opinions and values and all those things. That makes a lot of difference, because people will be able to read your post. People will then know how your mind works, or how creative you are, and then you'll be more what's called interesting to the social to the network, and then they will pick you up. You'll probably be headhunt, most probably, by doing so. So yeah. Please don't just limit to one social media platform. Be out there, but be responsible.
So what you said just now is we can start basically selling ourselves, in a way that in return, we're hoping that there are companies out there that got their eyes on us, so that we can secure our place in the industry once we graduated. Okay, before we move on to the next question, sir, I just want to say that welcome to Dr. Fiza, our program coordinator. Hello, Dr. Fiza. Assalamualaikum. Good morning. If you can, if you want to say a few words, Dr. Fiza, I can give the floor to you.
Hi, assalamualaikum. Morning.
Waalaikumsalam.
Morning, Jusufwan.
Morning.
Yeah, it's nice to have some kind of information sharing today, this morning, for our students. They would definitely benefit from the kind of job that you do. And along the way, what kind of challenges and positions that you had to jump from one to another, to get to where you are now. So and what the kinds of what kind of resilience that the students nowadays, our generation, this generation would need. Thank you, Sofwan.
Most welcome. I would definitely say that when I first started, my colleague used to teach me that I should change my home address to Nombor 18 Jalan Liku Bangsa, because I spend 14, 16 hours a day in the office learning the trade. I consume as much as I can, even things that is not part of my job scope. At that time, I'm just an assistant producer. I learned how to become a journalist. I learned how to edit using the old machine and all those things. As time goes by, I make that training is essential for me to learn new stuff. Until now, I'm still going to take training as something that needed for my future. I have not stopped learning. Any training that I can come by, I will do. I will learn. For example, I'm not proficient with this new social media, so I take training to learn how to use Instagram, how to use the new media, because those things are not readily available for me when I was growing up. So I learned from there. I learned from my children. In fact, I'm learning from you guys when we are talking now. So if you want to make a good career, you have to what do you call that? Put yourself out there, learn. But remember, work-life balance is important. Don't just work and have no life. That would be very, very sad. But have fun while you're working. Have fun while you're learning. That's the trick to become very successful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sofwan. Yes, work-life balance, kids, you really have to have that. As of now, our lives as academics, we don't have work-life balance, and that's the truth.
I learned from experience, doctor. I learned from experience. I was one of my managers used to say to me, you know, boss, if you die tomorrow, the company will replace you the next day, but your family won't be able to replace you. So have a better work balance. Don't think about work so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Fiza, for that really remarkable questions. And maybe we can open the floor to the audience, to my friends, to ask some questions to Mr. Sofwan. But if you're shy, you can just put in, your question in the chat box, and I will read it out for you.
Don't be
or
shy,
you can just
please.
unmute yourself and then just, or you can just unmute yourself and then ask your questions to Mr. Sofwan.
I have a question. Hi, Encik Sofwan.
Hi, Farah.
Hi. Just now, you guys were talking about selling ourselves. So, when is selling ourselves goes overboard? And have you met someone who oversell themselves too much that it becomes, quite annoying?
You got a very good point there, but I won't say it's about selling yourself. I would rename it as branding yourself. It's just like any other product, you brand yourself, you market yourself. Let's say you are a Chanel bag, right? Assume that you're a Chanel bag. How would you then put yourself across? Yes, there are people who oversell because they try so hard to be what they're not. That is a problem with a lot of brands, not only people, but product. They overpromise and they underdeliver. Always remember this: under promise, over deliver. So you will just need to understand how much you need to push your product or your brand or yourself to get the attention, and then prove it to them that you are what you say. If you create things and you will not be consistent, remember this, when I interview someone and I get their resume or I get from whatever they have given on the social media platform, I will question them back. And if it's not true, you can never be consistent. You can never deliver what you say. So be honest in selling or in branding yourself. Okay. So you should know where to stop. Don't go overboard. It is kind of annoying. Yes, I have met people like that, but I understand where they're coming from. Sometimes out of desperation and they need. So, as a person who interviews or who holds the power to hire someone, you also need to understand where the person is coming from. But of course, if they push too hard, then they won't be able to get the job. Just be honest with yourself. I hope I answer your question, Farah.
Yes, yes, you did. Thank you so much.
Most welcome.
Is there anyone else? You can just unmute yourself. Don't worry.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Diana. Yeah, I just want to ask, as we've listened before, we have to use LinkedIn or other social media that can help us in network with people. But I just want some tips on how we students widen up this networking as students lah. Can you like give us tips?
Okay, let's assume that you use LinkedIn as a student. You don't have what you call working experience to put across, but you have learnings that you can put and post. Things that you see, things that stir your mind. Let's say you saw something that you feel strongly about. Put that across in your post. Talk about issues that is related to the current situation. Either the COVID-19, how does it impact? Share your experiences on that platform. There, people can see how your mind grows as it goes along. How do I put it across to you? Let's say you feel strongly about bendera putih, right? You feel that some people abuse the bendera putih purpose, and you can write down that people should be more honest about their situation and put in the post. Keep posting those kind of things, those kind of thoughts, and then you will get the attention. Then people will see, this person has a critical mind. This person is very opinionated in things and all this. So that is one thing that you can do. Have dialogue, join the session that they have in LinkedIn. Like we have a session right now. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion. Don't be afraid to say something, even if you're not sure whether you are giving the right opinion. Because remember, you are learning. So even if you make a mistake now, you'll be able to learn. If you keep quiet, you won't know your limitation or your how far you can go. So please don't waste opportunity that present itself in those kind of platform. LinkedIn has a lot of seminars or live forum that you can join, and you can gain from those experiences from all the people and can use that for your benefit. I hope I answer your question, Anna.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Just so fun. I have a
Yes.
question. Haha, sorry guys.
Yes.
If you don't mind, how young are you?
I'm a very old man. I'm 58.
58?
Yes,
Oh, on the way to retirement.
on the way to
I am
retirement.
so jealous.
But I don't think I will retire. I actually, when I left Media Prima, I wanted to start my own training. So,
That's fantastic.
but then my former boss asked me to join and start up Awesome. So
Right.
I gave myself another 2 years. Then
Mm.
probably I will restart my training. Hopefully, you guys think of me, and maybe we can be part uh, together in doing what I love best, training people.
There you go. I would like to ask, since it's so fun,
Yes.
if you could meet your yourself when you were at 30 years old, what advice would you tell yourself? Thank you.
That's a very good question, Doctor. Actually, I would tell myself to live more, have a bit more fun, not just think about work, learn how to connect with people more, uh, have more networking, because when,
How do you define connect?
oh,
Online, offline?
no, both. That my time when I was 30, there's no such thing as online per se. You have to meet them physically, But my networking when I was 30 was really bad because I spent most of my time in the office. Then I'm a homebody person. I do go out. I have opportunities to connect with a lot of people, entrepreneurs, politicians, businessmen, and such. But I do not use that leverage to brand myself. When I'm in my late 30s, only I start realizing that that should not be the way. Then I started a bit late than I hoped for. If I met my 30-year-old self, I would say that go brand yourself now. Don't wait until you're about 40 to do it. So my advice to you guys, the younger ones, please, uh, start now. Brand yourself now, because the competition out there is very tough. Everybody is selling or branding themselves. So you need to be doing it quickly enough, but do it honestly and do it well. Then because you never know who will help you along the way. Like doctor, I hope when this session ends, we can still connect with each other, even with the student. I think you can share my profile or my email. I'm more than happy to answer any question that you guys have if the time runs out today.
Thank you, Josephine.
Most welcome.
That is an absolutely good advice. Sometimes at 30, I remember at 30, we were just drowned in work, because that's the peak of our career, our responsibilities come, and then bila networking tu kita dah penat.
Yes.
So and we leave it to the ones who need to do networking.
Yes.
The HR kita dah penat. So yeah, I think that's a good advice to the rest of the students. They don't have an excuse because social media, online platforms are plenty now.
Yes.
For them to network. Thank you, Cik Sofwan.
No, most welcome. Please connect with me on LinkedIn if you guys don't have. Create one. I'll be more than happy to accept you guys.
Mr. Sofwan, I just want to add something. For me, I think we should not limit ourselves when we talk about self-branding. I think we should not limit ourselves to only LinkedIn as the main platform. We can use other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, all the existing, that we have right now.
Yes, use every means possible. Don't use just LinkedIn. Why I say LinkedIn is where all the job opportunities are there. Use different platform for different connection or networking. I know Facebook is more of my generation. The older people, Instagram is for you guys. But beyond every, beyond every, because you might never know who can help you in that platform. You might not know who you can connect with on that platform. Don't just limit yourself to one, if possible. But like I said, when you are on the social media platform, be honest, be careful, because when you are on the social media platform, your imprint will last forever.
True. I think it all goes back to how media is, just like in the name, it's a tool, it's a medium. So it depends on how we use it. And
Yeah.
If you use it to to benefit others and ourselves, then the result will be it will be good. And
Yeah.
if we do otherwise, then the result would be much negative. Okay. Is there any more questions from the audience? Please ask away. Don't be shy.
Yes, I do have one.
Yes, please.
Hello, sis. Safwan, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
First of all, thank you for having us here. So my question is quite simple, but before that, I just want to say that in a company, as a public relation practitioner, working together is a must in order to achieve our goals, right? So
Right.
in order to work together properly, the communication is the key for
Yes.
everything. So my question is, what are the things that prevent a good communication in a company environment? As you know that we all just students, we can only speculate, but I want to ask from your perspective, what are the preventions? Thank you.
Okay. One, is it, or Muhammad?
Yes.
Things that prevent good communication is when, let's say, in a company there is internal stakeholders, which is the employee and the management, and external stakeholders, which is outside. Okay, let's take the internal stakeholders first. Things that prevent company from effective communication is when management are not transparent. Then it creates speculation among the employees, corridor talk, gossips, and all those things. Effective communication with internal stakeholders should be transparent. Whatever the company is doing, they must put it across to the employee, so that there will not be any rumors or anything like that. And the medium must be correct. Not just put a poster on the wall and say that's communication. Engagement with the employees is key. Head of department must meet weekly or monthly to inform their staff of whatever changes or whatever policy that the company is doing. If you do that and you have a two-way communication where the employee can also express their opinions or their thoughts, then it will be better. A lot of people say, oh, we have a complaint box. That is old school. That doesn't work. You have to have an open dialogue. Management has to be able to sit through with their employee and go through each concern that this employee have. I remember when my previous company, the CEO or the group managing director have breakfast with the staff. They select 20 staff. He will sit and have breakfast with them, and they can ask any question that they want, because a normal employee won't have access to the group managing director. So by doing so, he has created a chance or opportunity for the staff to actually engage with him. I think that's one of the good things that the company can do. But I say the most important thing with internal stakeholders is to be transparent. Now, similarly with external stakeholders, you do not want to tell everything that happens in the company to external stakeholders, but it is imperative that you meet and engage with them so that they know what changes are you making, what kind of new portfolio that you have, and all those things. Because you do not want to be left behind. If you are not out there and people don't notice you, then you'll be overtaken by other in your company. I give you an example. This is actually bad, but one cigarette company used to be the #1 brand. They are so complacent that they do not push themselves anymore to the external stakeholders. Another cigarette company slowly making inroad, pushing, communicating, talking to the external stakeholders. They became #1 because people are now more aware of them than the previous #1. Okay, so you need to be out there all the time. You need to engage with your external stakeholders because then only then people remember you. COVID-19 created a vacuum where a lot of big players are no longer spending ad revenue, right? They're not campaigning because they don't think people will buy. They are downsizing their advertising spending and all that. But the smaller companies now have an opportunity to put across their brand. So if this smaller company took that opportunity to leverage on that vacuum and engage with the external stakeholders, people will remember them. Okay. One good example that I used to tell people, when you buy ubat gigi, most people say kita beli Colgate, but you take Dali or other brand, but you still call it Colgate. Why? Because Colgate is top of mind, right? So they always engage with the consumers. So people will always say, nak beli Colgate, tapi dia ambil brand lain, dia tak ambil brand Colgate pun. So, but it becomes Colgate, become ubat gigi actually. So those are the things that you need to do to be effective. The one that prevent is like I say, when you try to hide things, don't hide. Be transparent, be engaging to all your internal and external stakeholders. I hope I answer your question, Wan Muhammad.
Yes, certainly. Thank you, Sofwan.
Most welcome.
Hello, Mr. Sofwan.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Annie. I have a question for you.
Yes, I.
Since you are someone with a lot of experience in as being a PR personnel, how would you handle a certain situation where some certain party would use media as a tool to spread their propaganda, for example? So how would you yourself as a PR personnel you handle the situation and you keep the borderline between, I don't know, between fame or something and also between your job yourself, as if you not do as they require, it may interrupt your career, it may cause harmful to you.
Okay, I love to answer your question. Faris, can you help me out because I can barely hear what he says. He's too soft. Ain, can you do me a favor? Can you repeat that louder? I can't hear you.
Yeah. Or
all right.
just type it out
Okay.
on the chat box.
Now,
Yeah.
does my sound loud and clear for you?
Yeah, that's better, way better. Thank you so much.
Okay, so my question is how you as someone with a lot of experience in journalism, PR personnel yourself, and you are working in a media station. So how would you yourself handle a situation where a certain party or a certain organization or anything that they would use media as a tool to, for example, to spread their propaganda, which is sometimes it's against the morality as a human. So how would you yourself handle this situation where they require you to follow a certain rules or guideline, and how would you separate that, as sometimes it may cause harmful to your reputation, to your career yourself?
Okay. When we face into that situation, we have to ask ourselves, is it for the good of the people or is it for the good of the person who asked you to do it? Now, you have a choice in a sense that we will try to disengage or engage it in a better manner. But please remember one thing, in assessing a situation, you must look at both sides of the party. I'll give you an example in a situation where a person think that is wrong, another person think that is right, right? So as an individual, if you feel strongly about certain things that you feel that is morally wrong and it's something that you would not want to do, then you have to walk away. You have to say, no, I'm not going to do this. And if it harms your career, but if you have that principle, I cannot condone such thing, then you walk away. I have personally done so a couple of times, and I was moved from doing that that particular thing. But you have to be mindful that what is right and wrong to whose perspective, but it has to be your own. It cannot be if somebody says A and somebody says B. Where do you stand in that situation? You yourself must be able to know. There's a saying that says that a one-man terrorist is another man freedom fighter. So you must then decide where your values are. You can't separate. You have to make a choice. You can't sit on the fence in such instances. And if I tell myself this, if I cannot accept, I will walk away. I hope I answer your question, Ain.
Yes, you are, Mr. Sofan. Thank you so much for the insightful answer.
Okay.
There any more questions from the audience?
Hello, Mr. Sofwan.
Okay. Hi.
I'm Wahida. So I'm just want to ask, what do you think the most important skills or characteristic that a PR personnel should have?
The most important thing a PR personnel will have to be have is a pleasant personality, effective communication style, willing to listen and understand. A lot of people forget that the most effective communication tool in life is to listen, not just to talk. Okay, you must be able to listen to understand and assess the situation and respond appropriately. You need to have acquire soft skills. That means you need to learn a lot of soft skills, emotional EQ, right? So that will help you. And then you have to keep on reading a lot of communication books. And then the most important for PR is if you are engaging with one person, do your homework first. Understand who you're talking to. You just don't want blindly to meet somebody. If you are a PR person, right? I know that you are in a company and your company asks you to have a meeting with such client or whatever. You have to understand who they are, what they stand for, and thus you'll be able to have a meaningful engagement with them. Otherwise, you won't understand where they're coming from, their philosophy and all that. That is, for me, a trait of being a good PR person. I hope I answer your question, Nur Wahida. Is it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes, please.
Okay, hi, I am Nurulita. Okay, so we all know that public relations require the practitioner to communicate or to interact with either internal or external stakeholder. So can you share some tips on the effective way to still be persuasive, but still maintaining the professionalism.
I don't quite get you when you maintain how.
Like sometimes when we are interacting with the stakeholders, there are times that the situation will be kind of
heated and escalation of things. Is that what you meant?
I'm sorry.
Are you saying that when you're engaging with the internal or stakeholders, it becomes a heated discussion and all those things?
Yeah, maybe there will be some kind of argument during discussion. So how you handle that?
Okay. The most effective PR person will never lose his cool. That's why I said the most effective way of communicating is to listen. It's not easy. It takes years of practice. You have to be able to distance yourself in a sense. This is not about your ego. This is about doing a job. A client can or internal stakeholders can be angry, but then you must put yourself, say, what is it that they don't understand from the way you're communicating? Are you communicating the wrong thing? Are you saying the things in a wrong manner? Clarify yourself. Take time, step back and listen and ask them, okay, let's chill down and let's go back to what is the one that is bothering you. Let's calm down and let's discuss calmly. How can I help you? You have to learn ways of to de-escalate a situation. I mean, you have to know phrases that will calm person down. Like say, I'm sorry, maybe you misunderstood what I'm saying. I'm sorry. Maybe you can tell me what is actually bothering you. Don't get emotionally engaged with the person when you are in that situation. If you do, then the thing will escalate to become worse. And don't ever let your ego get in the way. You might be a boss talking to your employee or your staff. They are still a person that you need to respect. So give them that due respect, treat them nicely. You will not have a heated argument. The minute you come across as somebody who's not listening or not understanding what they're trying to say, that will create the issue and the problem. Always remain calm and always use word that has a calming effect or this escalation of the situation.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're most welcome, Nurul.
Any more questions from the audience? Please do ask.
Fatiha, you want me to answer online? Yes, it's true. PR field is not for everyone, but it is possible for everyone to have a PR, a good PR with practice and experience. Some people simply do not have the temperament to be in the PR field because they are very strong-willed, they're very confident of themselves and all that. A PR person must be able to listen to what is being said and then respond accordingly. Some people, because the nature of their behavior or personality, like me, when I first started, I was very impatient. I don't want to listen to other people's opinion, but through years and experience, I learned that it is key in my job to be able to sit down listen to what is being said, address it accordingly. Hence, I do not know whether I'm a good person in PR or not. I'm trying still, but yes, through practice and experience, you could be very good in PR. I hope I answer your question, Fatiha. You're so shy, you don't want to. There you are. Did I answer your question, Fatiha? Yes? I assume that's a yes.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Please ask away. Or you can just type in the chat box.
Sorry, I can't hear you guys.
Can you hear me, sir? No. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Is it slow?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Wait, let me. Hello.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So sorry for that. Some technical issues. Sorry. Is there any more questions from the audience? If not, maybe please ask. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please ask.
Maybe if there's any tips and tricks that you guys want to know, you can just ask Mr. Sofwan. You know, it's not it is a rare even like this is very rare because we have someone like Mr. Sofwan, you know, who has a very vast background in media industry and also in PR as a PR practitioner. So there's a lot of information and knowledge we can get from him. So please ask.
Second question of one.
Yes.
Sorry, okay, I have one question.
Yeah.
If you would describe PR field in 3 words, what would it be and why?
So you have to ask me the hard question. I don't know. Public relation is about communicating, honesty, and information. You have to be able to communicate honestly, and you have to be communicating in a transparent way. Yeah, I think doing PR is not just about putting across a good image of a company or a person that you're doing PR for, but it's also being able to effectively communicate the messaging that you want to put across, so that there would not be any misunderstanding or any misconception of what is being said. A lot of people, when they do PR, they think it's just building a good image. It's not about that. Images can be destroyed in a second, but if you build a relationship and build a good communication, then you will have a solid foundation. That's my 2 cents worth of what PR is. I hope I answer your question, Doctor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Maybe we should do this live, then I can see more people and I can ask them things as well.
Perhaps, if let's say we have, time in future, I might bring, all the students here to go and visit Awesome TV. At least, they have the exposure, being dekat tempat set media,
For sure.
Maybe we can arrange that at some point.
Inshallah. But
Okay.
Our place is still a mess. Still work in progress. So yeah. Sharizal, what is the best job in media field? I don't know. Personally, I feel that being a journalist is the best job in the media field. But over the years, I've learned that if you can do more than one job in media, you become a real media practitioner. Not just limit yourself to one, because a journalist need PR skill. A journalist nowadays need to be a good camera person to tell a story. A journalist now needs to be a good producer in order to produce a good video and a good story. So yeah, it's more what interests you rather than any job specific is the best job in the media field. Some people say being the newscaster or the person in front is the best job. I believe behind the scene is the best. So depends on yourself, I think. I hope I answer your question, Shariza.
I just want to add something. So Sofwan, you said earlier that you were a journalist, right?
Yeah.
So was that how do you say that? Did you, okay, basically, did you have a lot of fun working as a journalist back then?
Well, I started, like I said, I started as an assistant producer for the news department. But going out is something that I always wanted to do. So I am a part-time journalist in a sense where every chance I get to go out, I will volunteer. Oh yes, it's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to see a lot of situations. Sometimes very sad, sometimes very happy, sometimes very emotionally charged. I remember when I was doing a production at Highland Towers, I saw this mother who is crying her heart out because she was worried about the safety of her children. She in fact asked the police officer there, bagilah I cangkul, I tolong gali at the site. So it is so emotionally charged at that time, and you feel her pain, and you wanted to help her. So you will want to give the best story or the best coverage that you can, so to help them ease the pain. I don't think we would ever manage to do that, but at least in a little bit, in a little sense. So yeah, it's very fulfilling, and it's very, I would say, it changes you to see things in a different way. So it's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Actually, Dr. Bir had shared with me this one slide that shows all the highlights that you ever, all the major events in Malaysia that you ever covered. As because you are media practitioner, right? So one of it that piqued my interest, I think, as it is until now it has become biggest question to all Malaysians. It's about the MH370. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit your experience covering that news. That until now I think really it's still a question to all of us.
Yeah, that's a mystery. I think hopefully it will be answered one day. I think Malaysia Airlines did a good job in giving information out to the media and the general public. God knows what happened, but there were so many stories or things that went viral, saying that the plane landed in somewhere in China, things that have been found and all those things. That did not help in any sense of the word, because it creates speculation. It creates distress among the relative of those on the plane. You give them false hope, you give them false promises and all those things. We try our level best to give the best coverage that we could. In fact, I think everyone in the media was trying to put across a good messaging and information out there to ease the suffering and the pain of those involved. But yeah, for until now, it's a mystery that we have yet to uncover what actually happened to MH370. I do not dare to speculate because then I will add fuel to the fire. But just let's stick to it's one of being the biggest mystery that we have in this 20th century, I would say.
Okay, thank you. It's just something that piqued my interest. That's all. But thank you for answering. And I think what you said just now, all the speculations, all those conspiracy theories, because I remember at the time, I think I was still in high school. I was in Tegatampat at the time, and I woke up to the news, and it's and first we thought all of us thought that it's just a like the plane would be found like in 1 or 2 days, and then it just days turned to weeks and then months. So and people started to speculate. And especially on social media, so I think it all goes back to people on social media and the misinformation that these people always associate themselves with. And it's like I mentioned before, it's the job of the traditional media, like user, traditional media is the front line to combat this kind of misinformation from spreading even further, and and also to avoid people from started to believe in them. And I think that's a real problem where people started to believe in unverified news as well. Okay, so thank you for answering that question. So let me go back to a question that is more related with PR. So I believe a part of PR job scope is damage control. Is that true, sir?
Yes.
Damage control. Okay, so let's say if a organization or if a company did something wrong, or basically something that is make people have negative I would say that have negative response to whatever they did, right? So PR is in charge in damage control, basically in repairing the image of the organization. So usually from there, what kind of usually what the I would say what the outcome or what kind of approach that usually PR settles to when doing damage control. Is it more like kind of win-win situation between the public and the organization, or is it some PR result to something that always make the company looks good despite having I would say that a big problem that they need to deal with?
Okay. Firstly, let's take an example, right? You remember or not, in America, there's 2 black males who were arrested because the manager of Starbucks called the police on them, and then people boycott Starbucks and all those things. Starbucks has to do a PR exercise in engaging the internal stakeholders. That means they do training for their staff not to be racially biased, and also to external stakeholders, building back the brand that they are for all, not just for certain communities. The thing that we must remember is that when you say building a good image, is that once a trust is broken, it's very difficult for you to build it. It takes years and it takes time and it takes a lot of effort. So a PR practitioner in a crisis when the company is facing a difficulty is, firstly, they have to understand what actually transpired. How did that particular incident happen? How do they navigate within that challenges? And then what kind of messaging they want to put across to the external stakeholders as well as the internal stakeholders. So once they have that done, then they have to approach and put the messaging across. And they must be consistent and transparent about it. If a mistake has been done, they have to accept that responsibility. They can't just pass it to anybody. Collectively, it's easier for me to say, oh, that is the employee mistake. So we fired her, and so everything's good. No, it cannot be that. It has to be more than that. The company has to take that ownership, that responsibility, and say, okay, now we are doing this. We are retraining our staff. We are doing steps, assuring the public what has been they are doing to ensure that such thing doesn't happen. And you have to keep reinforcing that messaging. You cannot do just one off, and then hopefully time will erase everything. People say that most people have very short memories, right? So something new comes along, they forget. No, you have to build that trust again, and it takes years to do it. So in order for that not to happen again, you must then reinforce your internal stakeholders. So you must macam dia cakap lah, kalau jadi salah, then buat sekali, training sekali dah cukup, right? And then no, it has to be ingrained, it has to be reinforced so that it won't happen again. So that is being a good PR practitioner. You must make sure the company image and the company good name is always maintained, not just at a particular crisis. Continuously, it has to develop.
So it is a constant effort
Yes,
that
it's
need
a
to be
con-
put in by the PR,
Yeah.
you know, to like you said, to maintain the
You-
company's good image.
Yeah, you can't do it just because you have a crisis. You must do it every single time. You have to put across so that when something happens, you can recover faster. If you only practice PR when there's a crisis, I'm sorry to say it will take a long time for you to repair that image.
True. So it's like kind of like let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I'll always be prepared to deal with backlashes from the public and all that. And also, I just want to add it like the example you just gave just now. I think a lot of people still, I mean the Americans, they still somehow once in a while they will mention it back.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's been resolved, you know, the issue, but once in a while, you know, when Starbucks has other issues, you know, that's not really related with racial issues, but still an issue. But still, it's a big issues that can taint the image. You know, some people in the comments, I can see that people bring it up again. So you know, it goes back. I think it all goes back to how the media nowadays as well. You know, once once you do something and people started to take note of it, people started to record it, and once it's in the cloud, it's in there forever, and you know, you just have to face it that, you know, you're once in a while people just gonna bring it up, even though it happened like million years ago.
Yeah.
So
There is one thing I would like to caution all of you youngsters that whenever you put across in your social media platform, please be responsible, because one is out there, it lasts forever. You might think that, oh, I'm nobody right now, so I can put whatever I want. But one day, when you become somebody, that thing will haunt you. Thing will come back right back to you. So be responsible in your posting. Be responsible in your opinion on the social media platform.
sure. There you go, guys. Just a little bit of advice to all of us. You know, be mindful in whatever we're posting, whatever we share, whatever we say. You know, and you know, because who knows that, you know, our potential bosses or potential CEOs from from certain companies might looking. I think that's also a thing now, is it, sir? How possible employees I'm sorry, employers, they look at the employees' social media, you know, to see what they tweeted, to see what they post, to see basically what they're you know, yeah, basically what they're doing lah, basically social media. I think also part of the culture nowadays, you know, where in terms of selecting an employee, recruiting an employee.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. But also remember, It's not just about your potential bosses. When you become bosses yourself, right, those things might haunt you back. So you might never know. You one day you are the CEO, and then somebody say, "Hey, last time you post this," then you'll be in trouble. So try to be responsible in what you do, because no, I don't mean that you cannot have fun. Do have fun, but be responsible about it. Life without fun is not life.
True, true. Thank you for answering that question and also sharing that. Is there any, before I go to my last question, and I think the closing question for today's session, is there anyone else who wants to ask questions?
Excuse me, I have a question for Mr. Safwan.
Yes, Felicia.
So right now, I think people on LinkedIn, I think it's like a new wave or new trend on LinkedIn where people post like flexing their achievements. Do you think is that a healthy competition? Because sometimes we wouldn't know if some people they post fake achievements. So what do you think about that?
Okay, posting your achievement, there's nothing wrong. Posting fake achievement, that's not done. Okay, I always tell my staff this: you must shout about your achievement and what you have done, as long as you don't put down people. Jangan mengata orang, saya bagus, dia tak bagus. Don't do that. I said, this is what I have done. Because if you are quiet, people will not notice you. People will not see you. You cannot be an invisible person. You have to tell what you have done. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't over-exaggerate. You don't make up things, right? You don't make up lies to say, I have a degree in this, where you do not. Be honest in your achievement. Tell the truth. Give your opinions on things and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. In today's environment or social workforce, you have to do that because people need to be noticed. In a crowd of thousands, if you are very quiet, you'll be passed over. So please put out across, like I say, in any social media platform, what's your opinion, do it responsibly, be proactive, be engaging in all things. Then you'll be noticed, whether you secara sedar tidak, you'll be noticed. So it's a good thing to shout about your achievement, but don't do fake one. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, probably we can make a way for 2 or 3 more questions before I ask my closing questions for today's session.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question for you as a journalist. I don't know if this question is appropriate, but I've always wanted to ask an actual journalist about this since I am considering journalism for my career path later. So as a journalist, how far should we go to chase a good story? Ethically, of course. Yeah.
So you should go as far as you can ethically to chase a story. I know one of my friends in Reuters actually spent 6 months of her time to cover human trafficking in Asia. So she actually spent that amount of time to get a very good story. Yes, but you have to do it in an ethical way. Like you can't lie and cheat to get stories, or do entrapment to people to get stories and all that. There's nothing wrong with doing undercover stories to get things, right? You're doing it in an undercover way and all those things, which my friend did as she went into the gangs and all this to get that particular story out. But don't lie purposely or create lies to get a good story. It's a very challenging job, but it's a lot of fun. I hope you became one, and I look forward to see your stories out there. One day be able to read or watch your videos and all those things. Okay,
Okay, sir. Inshallah. Thank you, sir.
all right.
Is there any more questions from the floor members? So I guess that's it for the Q&A session. So thank you for those who are asking. So before we end our session today, so I just this is last questions from me. Maybe you can entertain this last question. So we have talked about PR and we have talked about networking, right? And the benefits of it and so on. Yeah. So my question is, how far PR and networking complement each other? You know, does it go beyond landing new jobs or introduce you to a possible new clients, or does it stop there? How far can it go?
It should go. It should go far. It should not stop. It should grow. As as you spend years working, your networking should increase. You should not. You start off with one friend. By the end of your journey, you should have thousands of friends in your network. Of course, PR and networking is essential. It's like yin and yang. You have to have the semblance and the balance. One complement the other. You cannot have a good networking. You have a bad PR. As such, if you have a good PR, you definitely have a good networking. But the growth should be continuous. It should not stop. Oh, I have 10 good friends or 10 influential friends. I stop there because you never know. Anybody can help you. Networking doesn't just mean to get good jobs or good opportunities. Networking means to be able to help one another in the society. You can be part of an NGO, you can be part of a community and all those things. So don't limit to networking just to land a good job or to land a good opportunity for yourself. Do networking because you can help others. You can give your opinion to others. You can contribute to the society. That will be a more meaningful networking and PR exercise that anyone could do. For me, please don't think that networking and PR is something that to advance yourself. It is also to help the society as a whole and to help the community grow. And because you are young, you are the next leaders of this society. You should take that responsibility and do things that for the betterment of society as a whole.
Thank you, sir. So what you're saying basically like these two PR and networking should not limit to benefit ourselves. We also have to consider the improvement or giving back to the community as well. And also the people around us, friends, families, and whatnot. Okay. I think that's all for me. My questions. So I think our session has come to an end. So thank you for those who asked the questions to Mr. Sofwan. And also thank you, Mr. Sofwan, for joining us this morning for this sharing session for our class. And hopefully all of us get some idea or get some knowledge from Mr. Sofwan himself about PR industry and how important it is to build networking. So, by the way, Dr. Miro sends his regards. He is here, but he's having a FYP briefing with the students. So he sends his regards. So thank you all to my friends, to all the floor members, the audience, for that really good questions, and I hope you guys can use it in your vlogs, in our assignments. And again, thank you to Sofwan for willing to join us, for lending your time with us. And I think before we end our session, can you run to open the camera so we can have just a photograph session?
Yeah, please. Thank you everyone for making time.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to me.
Yes. Jom kat kamera jap. We are gonna have a photography session.
Haris, nanti send me the screenshot boleh?
Sure sir, boleh. Yeah. All right, I see. Okay. All right. In 3. Smile. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Smile. Okay. Okay. One more time. Sorry. I was lagging. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think that's all for me. Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Wen. Hope you good luck with your new set.
Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time and thank you for your question. I learned a lot from you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Encik Sofwan.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Encik Sofwan. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Thank you. Send a connection request on LinkedIn.
Okay. I will accept everyone from who.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.